What do you do when the person who's supposed to protect you spends years trying to destroy you instead? I used to think sisters were built-in best friends. I wanted that so badly with Priya that I copied everything about her. Her clothes, her hobbies, even the way she laughed. I thought if I mirrored her closely enough, she'd finally let me in. Instead, she looked at me like I was a threat that needed handling. Every trophy she brought home, I heard about it before anyone else did. She'd hold it inches from my face and ask if I could ever pull off something like that. When I hugged her anyway, genuinely happy for her, she'd shove me so hard I'd hit the floor. I kept trying. Kids are stubborn like that. Looking back, I think I mistook her intensity for closeness. When she practiced her running drills in the backyard, I'd sit on the porch steps and time her with my mom's kitchen stopwatch, cheering even when she snapped at me to stop staring. When she picked up dance, I begged for lessons at the same studio, convinced that sharing a hobby was the fastest route to sharing a bond. It never worked the way I imagined. Every attempt at closeness seemed to register to her as a challenge instead of an offering. The breaking point came on my 12th birthday. My parents got me the one thing Priya had always wanted, a bright pink cruiser bike with silver streamers on the handles. I was so excited I forgot every warning sign I'd collected over the years. I ran straight to her room and asked if she wanted the first ride. She said yes, smiled even, told me she wanted to try it out on the street since she was old enough to know the rules of the road. I believed her. 4 years is a big gap when you're 12. She never got on the seat. She looked me dead in the eye, rolled the bike into oncoming traffic, and let a delivery truck flatten it. That was the day I stopped being her sister and started being her opponent. From then on, I built a wall. No updates, no achievements shared, nothing that could be used against me. It worked, mostly, until I was 14 and won a regional cross-country title while Priya still lived at home. She overheard my parents talking about the award ceremony and asked to come. I was foolish enough to hope it meant something had shifted. It hadn't. Right as the coach reached my name on the list of winners, Priya collapsed in the middle of the gym, timed to the second. The paramedics were already outside by the time she woke up, blinking, apologizing for skipping breakfast. Everyone fussed over her. My name never got called. I stopped expecting anything from her after that. So when the acceptance letter to my dream university landed 3 years later, I made sure my parents found it before I said a single word. I let myself have that one unguarded moment of joy. Pictures on the fridge, congratulations texts, the whole thing. I thought there was nothing left for Priya to ruin. I was wrong. The next morning, I woke up to my parents clearing out my room. My mother's voice was shaking. Your sister has stage 3 ovarian cancer. She needs your space. My father wouldn't even look at me. I knew instantly it was fake. I'd seen a photo on Priya's social media from weeks earlier, full head of hair, blowing in the wind at some rooftop party. Now she showed up bald, moving slow, sighing about fatigue. I needed proof, not suspicion, so I played along. Cooked her favorite dinner, slept on the couch, waited. 2 weeks later, she threw herself a party to celebrate her bravery. Half our extended family showed up, plus a few classmates of mine, an audience she clearly wanted. Halfway through her rehearsed speech, tears right on cue, I walked over, hugged her tight, and peeled the bald cap straight off her head. Her real hair spilled out. The room went dead silent except for my mother's gasp. I didn't stop there. I'd recorded her rehearsing that exact speech in the bathroom mirror days earlier, and I played it on the living room TV for everyone to see. Priya bolted out the door and drove off into the night. The next morning, my mother slapped me across the face. Priya had spun a new story, that I'd ripped out expensive hair extensions she'd bought to avoid looking too healthy for a cancer patient. My parents bought every word. Then came the medical documents. Appointment slips, lab results, a full treatment calendar, all convincing enough that nobody questioned them. I still don't know exactly how she pulled off the letterheads, but they looked pristine, official, the kind of thing that shuts down doubt just by existing. Priya told our parents I was emotionally abusive, jealous of her diagnosis, trying to make her illness about my college acceptance. Within days, I was in a therapist's office twice a week, being gently interrogated about my resentment toward my sick sister. Those sessions were their own kind of exhausting. I'd sit across from a woman with kind eyes and a legal pad, trying to explain that my sister was lying, only to watch that explanation get filed away as denial. She asked about my jealousy, my need for attention, whether I felt overshadowed growing up. Every honest answer I gave seemed to confirm whatever theory she already had. I stopped trying to convince her and just waited it out. Meanwhile, Priya ran the household like a queen in exile. Family friends dropped by to admire her strength. She'd slip in quiet little digs about how unsupportive I was. Nothing loud enough to call out, just enough venom to poison the room. I started keeping records. Screenshots of her at the mall on days she claimed to have chemo. Notes on every inconsistency. Then one night I came home to find my laptop smashed. Screen cracked, keyboard bent, years of schoolwork gone. Priya was in the kitchen making tea. "Technology's so unreliable," she said sweetly. Not even looking up. I rebuilt what I could from memory and started hiding tiny voice recorders around the house, behind photo frames, taped under furniture. What they caught was worse than I expected. Priya on late-night calls, laughing about how easy our parents were to fool, bragging about stealing my room and torching my college plans, mimicking our mother's worried voice for her friends to cackle at. I backed everything up across multiple accounts. But my parents wouldn't listen. They'd glaze over the second I brought up her contradictions. So I called the one person who'd never fully trusted Priya, our Aunt Mira, 2 hours away, sharp as a tack, and the only adult who'd caught Priya lying as a kid. I used a payphone behind the school gym because Priya monitored my cell. Mira listened without interrupting, then told me she'd noticed the cancer story kept shifting. Lymphoma, then leukemia, then some vague, rare type. She agreed to visit that weekend under the guise of supporting Priya. By Friday, every recorder I owned had vanished. Priya sat on the couch reading a magazine, completely unbothered, insisting she had no idea what I meant. I still had cloud backups, so I doubled down on security. New passwords, two-factor everything. Decoy accounts stuffed with fake evidence in case she went digging again. Mira arrived Saturday with a casserole and her good pearls. She played the doting aunt beautifully, fawning over Priya's bravery, while secretly asking to see my room so we could talk alone. I showed her everything, recordings, screenshots, timelines. She caught details I'd missed. Identical watermarks across different hospitals, matching fonts, medical terms that sounded like they'd been pulled from a search engine rather than an actual chart. Her years working malpractice cases at a law firm made her practically fluent in spotting a forgery. She told me to wait for dinner. Confrontation too early would just make our parents defensive. That night, Priya performed her role flawlessly, pushing food around her plate, sighing about her appetite. Mira eased into it slowly, asking casual questions about her treatment center, mentioning a doctor friend who could help. Priya deflected, then suddenly needed the bathroom the second Mira asked for a name to send a thank you card. While she was gone, Mira asked my parents point blank if they'd ever actually accompanied Priya to a single appointment. They hadn't. Priya had insisted on independence. That's when Mira pulled out her phone and started playing the recordings. My mother's face drained of color hearing Priya laugh about fooling them. My father's expression cycled from disbelief to fury in under a minute. When Priya walked back in to find everyone staring, she panicked, accused me of faking the tapes with AI, then claimed I'd drugged her. Each excuse contradicted the last. My father stood up and asked her flatly if she had cancer. She cracked. Years of resentment came pouring out. How I'd stolen attention just by existing. How destroying my bike was the only time she'd ever felt powerful. How she'd been sabotaging me in small ways for years. Hiding library books to rack up fines. Spreading lies at school. Deleting old files off the family computer. Then she lunged at me. My mother stepped between us and got scratched hard enough to bleed onto the tablecloth. That's what finally snapped everyone into motion. Mira called 911 while my father restrained Priya, who was still screaming that this was all my fault as the paramedics let her out. My mother needed stitches. The ride home was silent. That night, my parents apologized, really apologized, for the slap, for not questioning the story sooner, for years of not seeing what was happening in their own house. I told them everything, going back to the bike, the award ceremony, all of it. They were horrified they'd missed so much for so long. Priya went into actual treatment, diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder with antisocial traits, something her therapist said would take years to manage, if it ever fully could. She moved back home between sessions, and we avoided each other like two people sharing a house, but not a life. She wasn't finished, though. I caught her going through my college paperwork one afternoon. My acceptance letter crumpled from being gripped too hard. I installed a lock on my door that same day. My parents didn't argue. Months passed in an uneasy rhythm. Decent days, bad days, her therapist reminding us recovery wasn't a straight line. I started keeping anything important in a safe. Then, the night of prom, I found my dress soaked in bleach, ruined beyond saving, and heard Priya's bathroom door click shut down the hall. Mira showed up with her daughter's old dress and did my hair herself. I still had a great night. When I came home glowing instead of crying, I watched Priya's face fall. Her plan had backfired completely. That incident finally pushed her therapist to recommend residential treatment. Somewhere 3 hours away, structured and intensive. My parents fought about it that night, blaming themselves and each other. The next day, Priya said she was tired of being angry all the time and agreed to go. The house went quiet after she left. The good kind of quiet. I moved back into my actual room. My parents and I started having real conversations again. I threw myself into senior year. Yearbook, tutoring, actually enjoying being a teenager for once. Family therapy sessions started monthly. Priya read scripted apologies at first, flat and clearly forced, but her therapist said even hollow accountability was a starting point. I started my own therapy too, to unlearn the idea that any of this had been my fault for simply existing and achieving things. Senior year rolled forward. National Honor Society, a scholarship essay about surviving family dysfunction, a graduation ceremony where my parents cheered without an ounce of guilt attached. Priya's letters home slowly shifted from anger to something closer to reflection. At graduation, my phone rang mid-lunch, the facility with Priya on the line. Her voice sounded different, calmer. She congratulated me and actually meant it. Small thing, felt enormous. By the time I left for college, Priya had delivered something rare, a real apology, incident by incident, without excuses tacked on. I didn't forgive her on the spot. I just said I hoped treatment kept helping, and that was as far as I could stretch that day. College became my own world. New friends. No shadow of family chaos following me. Priya kept improving in fits and starts. A part-time bookstore job, community college classes, supervised visits home that went better each time. Thanksgiving, she helped clear the table without being asked. Small, unremarkable actions that would have meant nothing from anyone else meant everything from her. I remember that Thanksgiving vividly. She showed up nervous, hovering by the door like she wasn't sure she was allowed all the way in. My mother had cooked enough for 20 people, the way she always did when she was anxious. We sat down as near strangers pretending to be a family, and for the first 20 minutes, it was just clinking forks and careful small talk. Then Priya asked about my biology major and actually waited for the answer instead of using the pause to talk about herself. No competitive edge in her voice, no comparison, just curiosity. After dinner, before heading back to the facility, she asked if she could say something. She thanked us for not giving up on her, admitted she knew exactly what she'd put us through, and said she was committing to the slow, unglamorous work of becoming someone different. My father reached across the table and squeezed her hand. I didn't hug her goodbye, but I did wave from the porch, and at the time that felt like a genuine leap forward. Semesters passed. Boundaries loosened just slightly, deliberately, carefully. She tutored me through organic chemistry over video calls and never once turned it into a competition. When I mentioned I was struggling with reaction mechanisms, she pulled up her old notes from a community college course and walked me through them step by step, patient in a way I'd never once witnessed from her before. My grade climbed from a C to a solid B+. And when I thanked her, she said helping me actually felt good, like she was building something instead of tearing it down for once. She proofread my grad school essays and caught typos instead of planting them. When my acceptance letters started arriving, she was actually unmistakably happy for me. No mysterious diagnosis appeared. No sabotage laptop. Just genuine questions about which program I was leaning toward and why. The night before I moved into my first post-grad apartment, she asked if we could be real sisters again someday. Not immediately, but eventually. I told her I wanted to believe it was possible. She said that was fair, more than she probably deserved. She helped me load the moving truck. Before I drove off, she handed me a small frame, a photo of the two of us as kids, grinning, no idea what was coming for either of us. I hung it where I'd see it while studying, a reminder that people can actually change, that some wounds do scar over instead of just scarring you. We text most days now. Nothing dramatic. Just updates about her classes, my research, whatever show we're both watching. It's not the sisterhood I dreamed about at 12. It's smaller than that, and it took over a decade of wreckage to get here. But it's real, and for the first time in my life, that's enough.